Thank you for coming to our presentation on our exhibition at the Iowa State University Textiles and Clothing Museum titled Fashion Resistance and Black Liberation, 1970s and Today. Our museum is located in Morrill Hall, Ames, Iowa. It was founded in 1924 and serves as a teaching tool in the apparel, merchandising, and design curriculum at Iowa State University.
This project is a student-led initiative. The curators of the exhibit include myself, Honor Edmonds, Ellie Vo, Dorothy Vernon, Amanda Ortiz, and Taylor Moore. Ellie is an undergraduate student in psychology. Taylor is an undergraduate student in psychology. Dorothy and I are undergraduate students in apparel, merchandising, and design. Amanda is an undergraduate student majoring in speech communication. Our faculty advisor on this project is Dr. Reddy Bess, who is an associate professor in apparel, merchandising, and design, and is also the director and curator of the museum.
Before we begin, we want to acknowledge those who have previously taken care of the land on which we gather. Before the site became Iowa State University, it was the ancestral lands and territory of the Bakaje, or Iowa Nation. The United States obtained the land from the Meskwaki and Sauk nations in the Treaty of 1842. We wish to recognize our obligations to this land and to the people who took care of it, as well as the 17,000 Native people who live in Iowa today.
We opened the exhibition in the Mary Alice Gallery in Morrill Hall on ISU's campus on April 26, 2022. The concept for this exhibition is a result of our class project for the course AESHM 462X, Black Lives Matter, Fashion, Politics, and Resistance Movements.
From the 1970s to today, Black Americans have continued to fight for equity within white society through personal fashions, styles, and aesthetics. Members of the Black Panther Party and other activists developed and wore different styles representing Black liberation. These activists contributed to soul style development by wearing berets, pins, patches, leather, and dark colors. Today, Black Americans who are a part of the Black Lives Matter movement are also engaging in style narratives of resistance, such as shirts with powerful statements. The Black Lives Matter movement is about conquering economic, racial, and social injustice in society. Our exhibition features 8 objects. Some of the objects are from the Textiles and Clothing Museum, and others were purchased specifically for this project. We first discuss objects featured in the exhibition representing 1970 activist styles.
When thinking about the Black Panthers, one of the fashion pieces that may first come to mind is a black beret. The black beret is one of the most notable pieces of the Black Panther Party uniform. As Huey P. Newton, co-founder of the Black Panther Party, once said, berets were sort of an international hat for revolution, as they were also used in other resistance organizations, like in the case of the Brown Berets, a pro-Chicano organization, and the Young Lords, an anti-racist civil rights organization that originated as a Puerto Rican street gang. In the Panthers' case, the beret was worn over a member's natural afro to resist Eurocentric beauty standards and center Blackness as beautiful. Black Panthers also wore the beret to symbolize their efforts to protect the Black community from police brutality and stand in the front line of Black liberation and power.
Another notable piece in the Black Panther Party uniform was the leather jacket. Popularized in the 1970s by Black Panther Party members, leather jackets have become a key item in Black resistance fashion. The jackets created unity and gave members a feeling of power, and also helped to conceal members' identities from police since everyone was matching. Leather jackets became an easily recognizable piece of resistance fashion that are still worn today.
Another fashion item that was popular in the 1970s were bell-bottom pants. Bell-bottoms were often worn by members of the Black Panther Party and other allies of counterculture movements because of the symbolic meaning behind them. Because of the wide flared hemline of the pants, bell-bottoms symbolized loudness and were worn by people that wanted to be seen and heard, which were usually marginalized groups. Black youth helped popularize bell-bottoms across the globe, when they paired them with other garments reflecting Black activism. The denim bell-bottoms on this slide and on display is an example of what was worn in the 1970s.
One example of a patch that was used for self-expression and activism is the Black Panther Party patch. The Black Panther Party patches were and still are one of the organization's identifying signs. The patches, like the one on display, were worn by members and allies who joined and or supported the movement. The panther was chosen as the party symbol because of the nature of the panther. A panther backs up first from an aggressor, and if the aggressor continues, the panther attacks in self-defense. The party embraced the panther's natural instincts and their practices by using knowledge, community support, and Black empowerment to fight back against racist systems. The panther and other patches were seen a lot during the 1970s.
Next, we will highlight the present-day fashions featured in the exhibition. First is a beanie. Black beanies are a staple piece in today's fashion, especially among street fashion with youth. Additionally, these hats have been a common accessory in many resistance demonstrations and protests, including those of the Black Lives Matter movement. From embroidery that says, "I can't breathe," to pins that read, "Black Lives Matter," beanies have been used as a tool to convey messages of resistance and activism. The beanie has also been worn to complete an all-Black attire like that of the Black Panther Party uniform. The color Black symbolizes resistance and authority, which amplified their image as change agents.
Also seen as a staple of today's protest attire is hoodies. With the rise of Black Lives Matter, hoodies have become an essential fashion amongst Black youth. The Black Lives Matter movement was founded in 2013 after Trayvon Martin's case, a Black teenager who was shot and killed by George Zimmerman, a member of Neighborhood Watch, while wearing a hoodie with the hood up. Since then, hoodies have been a common garment worn at protests, though they are popular in everyday wear as well. By popularizing hoodies, activists aim to destigmatize how people view Black individuals, and specifically Black men, while wearing the garments.
Printed T-shirts, such as the one featured in this exhibition, allows individuals with varying engagement to support Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter movement works to highlight institutional, systemic, and other forms of racism that disproportionately affect Black and brown individuals. While printed T-shirts are effective in communicating emotional responses, there's a danger of performative activism where individuals or institutions use the name of the movement for personal or monetary gain. Counter-political movements such as All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter have also spawned an attempt to decenter Black and brown people and experiences, and you also see T-shirts with these statements on them. The creation of the Black Lives Matter movement and shirt can be seen as a pillar of emotional and political frustration by Black and brown people.
In addition, denim has a deep history throughout resistance fashion. The use of denim shifted from manual labor attire in the 1960s to casual styles that bridged the gap between the working and middle class. In the 1970s, Black youth created patchwork designs on their clothing, which were often seen as rebellious. Patchwork designs on their clothing was a form of expression and identity, oftentimes reflecting their activist viewpoints. Today, patchwork continues to be used as a creative outlet for young people. The jeans pictured here and that we display represent this continuing trend. Kira Jack, a Black woman attending Iowa State University, created these patchwork jeans to express pride for her affiliated school.
In closing, fashion has played and continues to play a critical role in the fight for Black liberation and resistance. Through this exhibition, we highlighted the ways that this has manifested in two time periods, the 1970s and today. The beret, beanie, statement T-shirts, and other aspects of dress act as collective signs and symbols in advocating for justice and equity. We demonstrated how fashion, politics, and resistance movements are interrelated and complex, particularly for the liberation of Black and brown people. Funding for this exhibition was provided in part by the Ray Riley and Agatha Hubenbecker Burnett endowments. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Thank you.